Now, it has become pretty much openly obvious at this point that Disney really has no chance at a rebound, at least for the next couple of years, based on multiple factors. Everything happening with their merchandise sales, everything happening with their business models, such as streaming, as well as the ongoing box office failures, one after the other, that took place throughout all of this year, and more to come in 2024. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And one major aspect surrounding Disney right now that they are very caught up in has a lot to do with actress Jenna Ortega. Now, we talked about how Ortega is in the process of taking over many of Rachel Zegler's roles that she was removed from. This ranged from many of those, such as the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, other live-action and animated projects, and even a brand new franchise that we're going to be talking a little bit more about. But one thing about Ortega that recently took place between herself and her team, such as her agent and manager, serving as the middle ground, the messenger, if you will, bouncing back to Disney due to the strikes. We have a lot of things to discuss about what's going on between the whole Jenna situation and Disney as things are beginning to unravel. Now, one thing about Disney is that we know that they are really frightened right now. They are really trying to establish not only new remakes and reboots, but also fresh new franchises coming off the table, such as that spy film franchise that I actually talked about last week firsthand, and one of the upcoming ones we'll talk about right now. So, with actress Jenna Ortega in the process of taking over many of Zegler's roles, one major development has to do with what Ortega recently did against Disney after Disney was failing to reason with her agent and manager. Now, though Jenna is in the process of coming on board of the Pirates reboot and other animated and live-action projects with Disney, she recently walked away from Disney's next new franchise that is going to be doubling down on their DEI agenda that's going to be very much woke by embracing their DEI strategy even further that is already flawed as it is. This is a franchise that centers on the relationships of witches in a planned trilogy of films that Disney is getting ready to announce next year. Disney's plan was to obtain Jenna Ortega in this franchise, as she is already affiliated with many horror flicks. The conversations of Jenna getting involved in this franchise spanned multiple weeks. However, Ortega, serving as the messenger due to the strikes, recently informed her agent and manager to shoot down this deal entirely, since Disney is unwilling to drop their DEI strategy in the World of Witches franchise. Ortega is now reportedly officially walking away from this planned trilogy, and Disney is in a current state of panic over who to get as the main star. This was the one project in which Ortega and her team could not reason with Disney, as the plot surrounding the mapped-out trilogy is to focus on relationships that the majority of the general public will view as agenda-driven in this franchise that's currently in the works. Now, the one thing about this, guys, that really comes to mind is you can see that Disney is trying to get someone within the horror realm, right? Someone that really represents horror franchises, that has a lot of stardom power, and they probably felt that Jenna was the right choice for that after ditching ZEGLER. Now look, we know that ZEGLER was not going to fit this role either, but Jenna Ortega, we know that she's trying not to get typecast as much as possible. She doesn't want to fall into that trap. She doesn't want to fall into being cast in either horror movies or Halloween-esque films one after the other. You know, we know that is something that's beginning to trend with her, you know, such as the Scream franchise. She's coming back into that again. She's in Beetlejuice 2, and she's going to be in another horror flick, but she wants to break free from that trend, and that's why she's embracing that Pirates of the Caribbean reboot and other films by Disney. Still, it's just this one project that she recently shot down this deal entirely, using her agent and manager to reason with Disney. And the ongoing situation over at Disney is so severe that it's been rattling behind the scenes so much to the point where they don't know what to do with this planned franchise. They have to find someone that has a lot of stardom power, that's also associated with horror films. That's what they really wanted at the end of the day. So this is where problems begin to arise. The fact that they are willing to double down on their budget for World of Witches. We talked about this. They want to make these movies very high budget movies, just as large, and we'll talk about this in a second, as the Pirates films. And you can see that Disney just likes to waste a lot of money. Have you guys seen The Creator? Alright, I know it's a very on and off film, it's not the best thing out there, but it was only $80 million, the budget. And it looks like the most amazing sci-fi epic you could ever see on the big screen. And there are reasons and factors why that film cost only $80 million, and it looks like it actually has higher production value than anything else that has come out by Disney in a very long time. So, here's the other problem, alright, is that we know that there's a lot of other scenarios coming out of this. Now, Ortega was aimed to portray a main witch character that would focus on her evolution, with her relationship with other witches, something Ortega wanted Disney to completely drop, and they were unwilling to. With Jenna now reportedly off the table for this project, Disney is said to be clueless on who to cast for the blank role right now, and it may even delay their official announcement for the Witch trilogy. The plan was to make this just as a big franchise as the Johnny Depp films, both story and budget-wise, and it's already falling into limbo mode during its early development cycle. Now, again, I've mentioned this many times before in the past, that you can't just expect someone to just agree with everything that you want to do. And I think that's what they're looking at Jenna Ortega. They feel like they have her in this catch-22 scenario, when in reality it's quite in reverse. Disney is in the catch-22. Jenna Ortega really, has full control over the situation. They think that she's desperate. Not necessarily. She just wants to expand. She wants to break free prematurely from getting typecast by many studios. And what better way in her mind is to chase after Disney, her roots, her origin of really becoming the actress that she is in Hollywood today. And look, I feel that's a big mistake on Jenna's part. I don't even know why you would want to go back down to Disney the way it is today. It's nothing more than a sinking ship. It's best to kind of just shift away from that, focus on a different studio that would perhaps take you up for a different role that's not horror oriented, and move on from there. So again, we know that this World of Witches franchise was going to be something different. It was going to not necessarily have horror elements, but it was going to be different in its own way. They wanted to make it Pirates of the Caribbean-esque, per se. Very much like a fantasy-driven franchise, something around those lines. That's why she was also, like I said before, embracing the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot, which is still in progress, and other movies by Disney, both live-action and animated, while also obtaining horror-esque movies in the balance. She wants to keep that intact as well. So overall, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.